But if we go back, say 7 to 10 years, and Quinton, who is busy looking at his phone right now, talked a little bit about cloud. And 2007, 8, and 9 were very interesting years for technology adoption because CapEx was at the all-time low. We'd gone through the financial crisis, and these cloud companies sort of capitalized on it. And I think some of these numbers are slightly off because the market caps have come down from when this slide was created, but tons of value was created. And why? Because they really changed the paradigm of how people could consume compute and how people would build applications, bring them into their customer base and charge for them. And lots of efficiency was created. And for good reason, you can see that these companies have far outperformed their benchmarks as public companies. So we here at the Hive, as well as at March, feel like AI is following the same curve within the enterprise that the cloud companies did. Now, there are some differences, but I think the levels of efficiencies that these companies are bringing into processes, and I think you just talked about intelligence process automation or customer relationship management, take any enterprise process, and you can see that because of these advancements and these underlying fundamental sort of building blocks of how these technologies are built and delivered, there's great opportunity right now. AI is in everything. I think that the other thing that's dramatically different from how we think of the investing landscape now versus how we used to 10, 15 years ago is that technology, and in fact AI is not a vertical, it's a horizontal. And every kind of different industry is being disrupted by these technologies. This is not just theory. These are two Hive companies, also March portfolio companies that have now customer deployments and data to validate it. So the ROI of putting these technologies to work could be weeks, could be months, it's definitely not years. And so very impactful in highly complex, multi-process kind of environments. Funding is accelerating as well. I think if you look at this chart, you see about $20 billion a year is being invested from the venture world into funding AI. I think this is only going to go up as these companies mature. Lots of people investing in these companies, lots of deals being done. Exits have started to happen as well. And this is still early in the life cycle. We'll talk a little bit more about it in these companies and their development. But you do start to see money flowing in and out. Now, the one change over the years, and I think everybody should be cognizant of, this is not a US phenomenon. Actually, if you look at research papers and the amount of students going through their PhDs, China is probably ahead of the US when it comes to AI-driven technologies. I'm not quite sure what that means commercially. I do know that on the research side, there's a ton of focus by the Chinese government to be a leader in the AI space. Acquisitions, as I mentioned, I put Nest Labs in there. Google would say, was it an AI company?
Increasingly, yes.
Increasingly, and it's being applied in many different forms.
Yeah.
So I think over time we'll see more and more of that happen. Where is the funding going category? It's still mostly in the application space. So there is I think right next to the application phase is where people are building machine learning platforms that will allow other people to build applications much cheaper, quicker, faster. There's some examples here. As these companies mature, as they become, have more business, raise more money, you can see round sizes naturally are increasing. Exits also are tending to accelerate. I think it's still early for the exit, but I think in the next 24, 36 months, we'll see a lot of these AI companies either standalone public companies or be acquired by the large giants. So, like I said, last man standing before the alcohol, finished in a few minutes. We spend a lot of time thinking about where the world is going next. And if it's some of our belief is it's a 5-year sort of into the world of AI, but it's a long cycle. A lot of things have to happen before we see this curve maturing. The cloud curve, which is probably 15 years old, hasn't matured yet. Lots happening there as well. So this is a continuum. More and more new technologies will come into play. And as I said, given Ravi just celebrated his 25th birthday, I think you've got a lot to do, Ravi, until you're 60 at least. I'm happy to take questions. If you don't have any, I'll be around. We can chat about it more. But thank you so much for coming.
So we have all, not all, but some of our startups were setting up little tabletops behind. And so I want to thank first all the speakers who did just such an incredible job. All of you for kind of taking a few hours off the day and spending time here. And especially our investors, many of whom who are here, for believing in the Hive. So there's drinks outside, I think drinks behind. Look forward to continuing the conversation. Thank you.
Sasha announced he was going to be